back another day, and I got the broken tap out off camera. The way I did it was with this guy. I got a little diamond bit for the Dremel. You can see right here that I got the wrong size, so I put some painter's tape in it, and it actually helped me make it up to the right size. So buy the right ones, but you can do some right neck stuff and make it work. Either way, it kind of worked mostly. Broke a couple of them, but they're cheap. And I was able to get it out. I tapped it enough with my new set, and then now I have one of them in place. Now I just need to do the same thing here on the other control arm too, and then on the two lowers. So I'll just throw in a quick time lapse of that, and then we can move on to some other stuff. As you can see here, I got these grease fittings in place on all of my control arms. Also, I forgot to take these sleeves out of the lower control arms. Just like for the upper control arms, you have to take these flanges out. I have to do it on the lowers. I just forgot to do it. I can go ahead and put in my bushings on all of these and put them back in place. I will have to do the shimming, but that's something that I'll figure out once everything is in the car. Once the bushings are in place for these, I can actually start mocking up the subframe finally and cutting it for the hardtail conversion. Alright, so one thing that I want to show just to give an example as to why these guys should go inside of the freezer beforehand. You can see that this is not pressing in place. I would have to force it in there and it would cause damage to the bushing. With these bushings right here, I had these inside of the freezer. I was able to press these in just by hand. The inside and the outside of each of these on both control arms are different. For example, right here on the inside of this is a little bit smaller in diameter than on this side. So these have different bushings in them. They're all marked with this, so you have front inner and front outer. So when you buy the kit, you would think that one bag might have one for one control arm, but each bag has one for one side of each control arm. And then I'll go grab the ones out of my freezer really quickly for this side, and I'll just show you how easily they go in. Right here I have my front outers, or front inners, sorry, that just got out of the fridge. And I'm able to push them in just like that by hand. Just like that. But that is exactly why they are marked the way they are. Just know that you absolutely do have to leave these guys in the freezer. They'll just pop right in place. Once they're warm though, at least to my knowledge, you'll never get those things back out. Put these guys on the outside here, just like that. Like a freaking glove. One thing that these also come with are these little shims here that you can put in between everything to shim it out once you get it in the IRS itself. Obviously I won't be doing that right now because I'm not actually mounting it up right now, but it's just one thing to keep in mind. Don't lose these guys. From what I understand, they're pretty expensive, and you do absolutely need them. Don't lose them, nerds. One other thing that has to be removed from this is this little washer here. Apparently this was not on the older style ones, but only the newer ones, so like probably 2003 and 04. The easiest way to remove this is with an air chisel, which I don't have here, but my buddy Evan has one. So I'll probably just take the whole subframe up to him, that way he can help me do that. That guy right there is stuck. I can't actually get the axle out from this hub, so hopefully I can bring this to him too and we can just air chisel that real quick. I tried hitting it with a hammer. She's just seized in there. They probably didn't put anti-seize on the hubs. And I would like to actually have the spindles in place. That way I can have the lower control arms in, the upper control arms in place with that to get my full range and maybe attach the wheel to it and make sure that I have full range of the suspension in the back after I do the cutting. So probably going to load these into my work truck and then bring them to him next week. IRS is back. I went to my buddy's shop. We used the air chisel on the axle to get the hub off, and we also used it to get those little washers out of place. Now that we're here, got the new bushings in, obviously, and the old hole for the car is a 12 millimeter. You can see this guy moves a lot. Now, went ahead and got these 9/16 bolts for the car that fit in nice and snug, a lot less wiggle room. But the torque boxes inside of the car need to be drilled out for this size. I went ahead and I got this long reduced shank drill bit on Amazon. It was like 50 bucks for this thing. We'll drill out the hole in the car side and the torque boxes, and then also expand them for this bushing to slide in and out a lot easier, making my test fitting and everything go a lot more smoothly. I have everything set up. I have some cutting oil on my drill bit. We're going to go from the inside of the car to the outside, hence why I got this long drill bit. There's no way to get the drill up in here for me, so we'll go ahead, like I said, just do it from the inside out. Go ahead and see if this goes through, which there's no reason it shouldn't. Just like that. Then once it's all clamped down into place, there will be no play. And we have a beefier setup now, so that's good. I'll do the same thing on the other side off camera, then we move back to the IRS. Now that we have these little washers removed from the IRS, I have to take this little bit off. There's like these little spot welds that held them in place, and I need this to be smooth for the washers that go against here and for the bushings and everything. So I'll go ahead and grind these off really quickly. Off camera, I took the liberty of putting the control arms back in place, the lower control arms specifically. So the upper and lowers are in. I also put the knuckles back in place. The reason why is so now I can attach my wheels when I get the IRS back in the car, and I can lift this one side up and check where my limits are, make sure that I get full movement out of these control arms before I go ahead and permanently mount it as I cut this and raise this up. Alright, I got the IRS on a little floor dolly right here. I'm going to go ahead and try and put it back in the car. I don't have the metal yet to start cutting these off, but we'll one thing at a time, you know? Cue time lapse. This mount right here is pretty much where it was initially. I haven't cut anything. I can tell by the line that I drew on it before that right here is about where it used to be. Now if I hold this kind of in place and lift this up, I hit the car right here before I max out where my tire would be. The way I know that is on the other side, I put my tire in place and it rubs against the upper part of the wheel well. Right here you can see I have the tire completely maxed out as far up as it will go. I just have the rubber of the tire actually holding it in place essentially. So the thing that's touching the body of the car right now is the tire. So one of the reasons that I don't want to have it go all the way up and touch the wheel well of the car is because if that happens, then it basically acts kind of like a brake. Anytime your wheel is touching something, then it will slow down that one wheel, and that's one way to unsettle the car. In my very unprofessional opinion, it's probably better for me to maybe notch out the frame and put some sort of a bump stop in the way. I'll deal with that when I get to that part. But the main point is if I'm getting close to the top of my fender well, I think I'm good. I don't think I need it to go all the way until it rubs. You know, having complete range of motion is ideal, but the complete range shouldn't put the vehicle in any sort of danger of spitting out again. I don't want to have metal on metal contact though, which is another issue. So it might be one of those things where I notch out that section and essentially fill it back in with some sort of like frame stop. So essentially it's the same range of motion as I had before, like it stops in the same spot, but I'm able to completely eliminate the fact that the tire will be rubbing as much as I think it might. I'm running out of time here for me today to be inside of the shop. I still don't have the metal that I need, so I'm gonna go get that. But I'll just be cooking in my head with the videos that I took and thinking about what I actually need to do to get this where I want it. What are you gonna do? It's kind of part of it, and you take it one day at a time in your sweaty Jeep shirt. I don't even like Jeeps.